Y ahí está Chongkal. Welcome, Chongkal. I'm very happy that you are joining us today. Thank you for accepting me the invitation to this class.
Thank you for inviting me. Hola, me llamo Chongkal. Yo hablo español un poco, entonces mi presentación en inglés.
Claro. Sí, thank you, Chongkal. They know that this is going to be in English, but I told them that I think the explanation that you're going to do today, it's very clear with the demo, so I don't think I think they are going to understand everything that you are going to share with us today. Así que chicos, vamos a cambiar a inglés para que Chongkal nos pueda contar sobre su herramienta. Sí, como les digo, creo que se va a explicar por sí solo lo que él nos va a contar, porque nos va a compartir pantalla de la herramienta en sí. Tiene mucha relación con lo que hemos visto hoy día antes en la clase. Y si tienen alguna pregunta, lo podemos ver en el camino o al final. Si tienen la pregunta en español, yo les podría ayudar a traducirla al inglés, así que no hay ningún problema. Así que, Chongkal, go ahead and...
Okay. I will start sharing my screen, yes. If you don't mind. Okay. I've prepared a short a mirror board just to give the idea of what I'm going to deliver today. I know it's already late evening in most of the places. It's 6 p.m. I'll try to be not being dull. So the agenda would be around the Vectorly as the tool. So we are generally building a tool that helps to manage growth of the tech talent. Managing designers as one of our primary use cases. We started as a tool for design manager and also started to implement it for other roles in the tech teams. So basically the agenda would be divided into 3 main parts. Like how to set up the skill matrices. I don't know like whether all of the people are familiar with the concept and the tool, so I'll just make it like from scratch, like you don't know nothing. If you don't mind, then how to review skills of designers and like how to set development goal one-to-ones. I will try to pack it all into 45 minutes and live the last 15 minutes into Q&A session, so you generally could ask questions, or if we would have still power to have it. Okay, so the first thing is creating the skill matrices. So generally the skill matrix and how we are setting up inside of the Vectorly, it consists of 3 main things. It is skills, itself, levels, and the career paths. In my board, I want to show up how it's generally being done by the companies, and to give you connection between like these 3 things. If you haven't set up the skill metrics for yourself, after this, it would be quite easier to create one. So generally, when you are adding up the skills into the skill taxonomy of the product designer, they mainly could be divided into like main fields. That's like the easy part, the hard skills and the soft skills. I would divide the hard skills in 2 larger groups. The first is the design craft, let's say, how you're doing UX, UI, like things like this. And another hard skills are needed to do the interaction with the other departments with which the product design departments are usually interact with. Let's say the skill of the design handoff. So how good actually the designer is actually moving the work towards the front-end development, whether it's well described, whether it's totally understandable, and finally we get the result that we expected as designers. And the second types of skills is the soft skills. That would be like individual performance, so collaboration and communication within the team, some leadership for skills for the team managers, and the product skills if you are like the product company, not the you're not selling your design in form of like agency services of things like that, so you'd have this skill set too. Some of the things when you are setting up the skill matrices, the general thing of this tool is to set the expectation, what you are expecting from the designers to have in different career levels, like junior, middle, senior, etc. But also one of the bigger part when you are setting already the expectation for designers is setting the business results in the form of the OKRs for the design teams, but it's a little bit different. I have set them aside up in there. So let's take a look at the next step, how we are setting up the levels and how we can generally approach it for each of the skills. So I wanted to show up how we add up a single skill into the skill matrix there. So let's say we want to create the skill matrix, and basically levels for each skill, they could be divided into the following structure. So generally, any skill could be divided into these 5 stages. So someone has started learning some skill, then already he knows some skill, does some skill, help others, and teaches the skill. So up in here, we have an example for the UX skill. So generally for the learn, that would be learn to find UX solution based on user data, qualitative and quantitative. As he knows, someone can create the UX solution based on the user data, qualitative and quantitative, frequently asks for mentor's help. For does, it could be creates UX solution based on user data. So on the help level, helps juniors employees to find UX solution based on user data. And when you are already on a teach level, you share expertise within a company and you are responsible for implementation of new UX tools and the plugins. This particular descriptions, they are divided into the following pattern. So usually, if you are approaching, let it be some other skill, I don't know, if it would be the UI, for example, they would follow the same pattern. You would simply describe learn to, and you would describe what in your case UI job is. For the next thing at the know level, there would be does the job, but does job not independently, but with help of the mentor. On the third level, you simply describing the job that needs to be done if up in there. On the help, it helps to do the job and generally teaches to do the job. And the difference mainly when helping others takes too much time. So you are having too much requests from more junior designers and you start transmitting it. The easiest way to I have got it there sort of an algorithm how you can approach it. So for many it becomes confusing how to start, but if you would follow the algorithm, that would be a good starting point if you never devise the skill matrix. So let's say for user research and hypothesis, it's better to start with the third level no. So if you don't have these descriptions, you are starting with simply describing the job. So we're just saying, okay, the step 1 would be start with what the job does for a skill. So mainly for user research and hypothesis skill, level does means to create user hypothesis. So generally quite straightforward. The step 2 is mainly do the job plus mention the help of the mentor. So generally you can say creates the user hypothesis, frankly ask for mentor's help. So it's the person understands what the actually user hypothesis is, but he all the time is coming for more senior designer and ask what is need to be done. The third level follows the pattern helps plus describing the job. So you're saying help junior to create user hypothesis. The fourth level is to learn to create, learn to do the job, learn to create user hypothesis. And the 5th level that someone is sharing expertise about the within the company, build manuals and building hypothesis. So mainly it could be followed for any skill set, any skill at the start. And additionally, you can add on different jobs that need to be done within the skill. So you can follow this pattern to create your level descriptions quite easily. And the last thing is regarding the career paths. So the career paths are primarily the grade itself. So usually when you're building the career paths inside of for your design community and for your design team, usually creating 2 types. It's for individual contributors like intern, junior, middle, senior designers, and one for the managers like design lead, design manager, design director, head of design. And up in here, I've made a little sort of a tip for which level, for what skill levels I need to be shown for different career grades. So let's say for intern, most of the skill set that are required for being an intern, they are only the hard skills. So if we just get back to this part, so we're having this two parts, hard skills and soft skills. So when you're an individual contributor path, most of it is revolving around having the hard skills. So you generally can do the craft. So up in here, there is for intern, you're mostly on the learning and know level. So you generally just came into organization, you start to exploring how the things are being built, you start to knowing something, and you are being handed off some task by more senior designers. When you're ready on a junior level, you're still on the hard skills, but generally you are start doing some of the skills independently. So there's a clear path from your junior to the middle level. When you're ready on the middle, you're generally most of the things that you are on the task level. So any task could be sent to you. You can easily understand it by your own, ask the follow-up questions to the senior designers, and finally make it. And when you're ready becoming the senior, it means that you're starting providing some sort of a mentorship. So in addition to the hard skills, you are starting to have the soft skills, and you are generally start sharing something. When you are moving to the manager career path, one thing that is being added, that if you are a design lead, you definitely need to already practice the design craft, and you need to show up sophisticated soft skills, because most of your job would be communicating what needs to be done, building the team routine and things like this. And when you're moving towards the design management, design director, head of design, added to the hard and the soft skills, you're starting to operating with the business metrics. So if you want to provide some career path already at the design manager or design director level, it is really important to put on this OKRs for the design manager, design director, and head of design, depending on the scope that are devised for particular manager. So these three things inside of the Vectorly, I'll just show up the product as well up in there. So if we go inside of the Vectorly, there is a specific toolkit devoted for the skill matrices. So I'll open up this product designer, and generally it follows the same pattern that I shared to you. I will also share after the call. I asked Alejandra to send up some useful materials after the call, so you can play with, including the mirror board and the template for the product design skill matrix. So basically it consists of these three things: skills, levels, and career paths. And skills, you could find out the complete skill taxonomy for hard skills and the soft skills that you can play with. You can add your own skills if you are already know and have something in mind. There is levels. Generally, they already contain all the description that I have said, but if you would add on the new ones, you would generally, if you would take a look at this skill matrices, you would generally can decompose them into the following pattern, what does means, what knows means, what learn means, helps and teaches. You can play with it. And also there would be the two career paths for individual contributors and the managers. And you can find out the templated requirements up in there, with which you can at which you can take a look, and you can additionally configure them for your own use case. So generally, this is the first part of the regarding the skill matrices. Hope it. I'm on timing, but hope it's not too fast. Okay, so let's go for the second part, which is devoted to how to review skills of the designer and who actually can review different skills to get the bigger picture of designer skills. So to remind that we're having the hard skills and the soft skills. And up in there, I wanted to show up who is better to review the skill set of the designer inside of the tech team, and who is better to review the soft skills, and who's better to review the hard skills, and why. So up in here, we're having the designer. And basically, to understand like how designer is growing and operating in like the broader sense inside of the product team or like in the department, you need to collect feedback from all the people who she or he is working with. So I would start with the easy part. So if I'm the designer and I'm having the design lead, usually the design lead as me myself, we can review all of my hard skills. So generally design craft could be like reviewed by a more senior designer, and I'm also doing the self-review as the designer. So I could easily understand where my perception with my design lead collides. So if I'm like, usually two problems arise. If you're reviewing the junior designers, they're like more overrating themselves. And it's quite easy to understand why, because their learning curve is super steep. They like know nothing and start doing design. So they generally like feel a lot of the traction there. And with the seniors comes the opposite thing. They're already like every new thing that they know is just a drop inside of like already an ocean of their knowledge. So it is very important to notice when the developer is feeling that he's not growing, like when designer feeling that he's not growing, being a senior, because it could be like a sign of this stagnation, like it's indigenic feeling, and you can easily, as the design manager, like try to somehow create a new routine for the senior designer so he continues and feels that he's grown in a company. And for the junior guys, that's a little different. You're just telling them exactly why they're like still juniors and not already like middles and seniors. So from design lead, you're getting the hard skills. It is good to ask front-end developers to also provide front-end developer who work. If you're working on a project or in a product team, when you're having the front-end developer who designer is interacting with, it is good to collect feedback from a front-end developer about hard skills like the design handoff, for example. So these are the skills that, so you can collect feedback that you're having very good designer and he's like super creative and things like this. But generally, when his work is being pulled to the next stage of the production line, and it's being transmitted for the front-end team, and finally the result and the interface that you are seeing is like full of bugs or like full of missed user case scenarios, or like generally is not like looking and behaving in a way that you expected. Generally, this is the problem with the handoff skill. So it could be also highlighted. So you're finally like helping the designer to improve the process, like by interacting with the other departments, as the design is not operating solely. This is regarding the hard skills. So generally, the logic, like senior designers can like review hard skills, and people of the other roles can review some of your design skills that are affecting someone else's work on the production pipeline. And regarding the soft skills, you're having two things. First is the project manager, depending on like how you're operating, whether you're an agency or the product company. Product managers are reviewing your soft skills like individual performance, whether like someone is productive, operating well, whether his scope is fine, like things like this, how you're communicating internally and externally with the clients, and also your product or project skills. So generally, whether you are meeting the deadlines, whether you're understanding the problem, the solution that the company is delivering, that's still super important for like producing more quality work. And other product or project team members, for example, in a project team, you're having like the project manager or like backend developer, front-end developer, UX analyst, and the product designer. It's super good to collect feedback and how the communication is being handled inside. So you can easily collect feedback, for example, from backend engineer that at the time when, for example, he interacted with the product designer and he was explaining the business logic of the application, let's say, like showing the mirror board or something. He actually like understood it, whether he like delivered it politely in something, because it hugely affects your final product. If at any stage the designer is like not communicating well, it will finally affect the work, and your missed deadlines, they're usually like coming from the skill set and how the designer generally, everything starts with the design generally, so it's super important. So yeah, this is how you can collect feedback and like different types of feedback that you can collect. So generally, why are we collecting this feedback? Why we need this data? So it's two things. Finally, all of this feedback for skills, they are collecting in two main fields. It's the individual skill reports. So you can generally like understand the skill gaps of each particular designer, build the individual growth plan for the person that would be attached to his promotion in a company. So final thing that you are like, I haven't wrote it, but I will do now. So the final thing here is that you're operating for retention. So you're generally like understanding the skill gaps of the person, you're creating these individual skill gaps, and finally designers understand that he can like in half a year, if he like closes up all his skill gaps, he can generally get promoted inside the company. So he will not thinking like, okay, I will find out an opportunity, my next career opportunity somewhere else. And the second thing is the team reports. So all of this data that you're collecting for like, let's say you have a design team of like 10 people or like 5 people. And basically you can take a look at your general team skill set and like how you are as a design team operating. And this data from the team report could be used from two things. First is the hiring. So generally when you're going to find out your next hire, you're going to find out something who can actually strengthen your team skill gap. If you are very good in the UI and like you're not very good in the UX, it's better to maybe find out the next product designer who's like not good at UI at all, but like super good at the UX. Maybe he was UX analyst previously and like he joined your team, so we can generally like teach and bring this quality to the whole department. And the third thing is when you're taking a look holistically your design team, you can also plan your learning strategy for teams. So generally, most of the design teams, they need to like verify the budget. You need to come out to your HR department or your L&D department, say, hey, we want to purchase this course or we want to purchase this mentor or something. And generally, if it comes only from the requirements of the particular designer, it's a one thing. So generally, it's much harder to like say, hey, we need this for this particular designer, and it will only work out maybe for those designers who you very value and you want to retain them, so you buy them these courses and things like this. But if you're bringing like the team skill gap and you're saying, hey, we're having like an effort to launch our mobile application and we want to like bring this business metrics, and to do this, we need someone who is like, we need to upskill all of the team for like mobile usability design or something. And you are bringing it and you're saying, we wouldn't hit our business goals if we're having this team skill gap. So can you please prove the budget, because the team simply doesn't have the opportunity to like bring it otherwise. So you can use it as the sort of like the persuasion technique, like showing it up. So I will come back to actually again and showing up how the skill reviews and how these reports are being shown inside of the Vectorly. So generally, you can easily launch skill reviews for many people. You can invite people to do the self-review, to like do the reviews bar in a way that I show, like from product managers, from like design lead, from the rest of the product team. And finally, you're going to have a report like this. It already summarizes all of the data inside. So firstly, it's going to show the current grade of the person. How much does the person fits his current grade? You can take a look at the skill set of this particular designer. you can hover over and see like what the skills are, like what the required levels is. So you can easily click on the skill group and see the individual skill gap up in there. And also, if we go for the second tab, you can see the broader picture of how the skill set of the particular designer is being perceived by different people. So this is a report for Adriana, and you can see that she reviewed his skills like this. Her design lead reviewed her like this, and the product manager reviewed her skill set like this. So you can generally take a look where the skill set collides and whether is everything is like there is not big collision between the self-perception of the skill set and this gives you like the idea of the whole skill set of the person and finding out the skill gaps. So yeah, this is the individual report, and also inside of the Vectorly you are having this team analytics reports as well. So you can open easily the team skills chart. You can see how all of the designers inside of the team are covering the skill metrics that you created. You can easily filter them. For example, if you want to take a look at, let's say I want to see designers in my product team integrations, or I want to see the product team dashboard. So for different product team, you can like filter and you would see a different skill set for any particular use case. So it generally could give you a more sense of what's going on in terms of growth within the company. Okay, so yeah, this is regarding like how we set up, like, so who is reviewing who, and for generally why we need this data. And I'm still in timing, okay. And the last thing that's a more smaller part is already, so you understand the skill gaps, and for like the next or the current career grade, depending on the use case, and you are building, you are having like two main tools how you can actually like move the designer across the career progression in the company. Firstly, you are building individual growth plan. So generally you take the skill gaps for career grade, you add the skill gaps to the individual growth plans. And finally, you are adding tasks that are helping the person to actually like build and like fill this individual skill gaps. It could be like some learning materials for the skill gaps, or some mentors for the skill gaps, or some working tasks for the skill gaps, depending on the use case. And the final part is regarding the one-on-one meetings. So you are generally having this to discuss two things. So you're firstly discussing the progress and goals. So you set up this development goal, and when you are meeting on the one-on-one, it is very important to stay focused on goals. So generally, it may be like, if to show it as an analogy to like the Scrum meetings, maybe some of you are like having inside. So usually it's a good thing if you're having like some OKRs or like some product milestones in the company. And when you're like doing the stand-up, you're not discussing like the overall and everything like unrelated. So it just becomes some kind of a messy meeting. You are discussing it in regards to your product goals and to your OKRs, for example. So you're just trying to stay focused on what is important. And actually, this is how one-on-one meetings and individual growth plans are connected for if we're taking the individual designer growth. So when you're coming up for the next one-on-one, you're all the time focused on the skill gaps that the designer need to fulfill. And also, when you are like adding tasks or discussing initiatives, you are always staying focused on this. And this is like mutually beneficial for designer and the design lead, because designer knows that his design lead is investing in his growth and he actually like want to bring him to the next career stage. You as design lead finally make sure that you wouldn't set it the individual growth plan and saying, okay, like in a 6 months, you're going to become like middle or senior designer or like something. And finally find out the designer haven't progressed. Generally, he like something has changed in the company, or like some project works or designer didn't have enough opportunity to practice. So this regular one-on-one meetings, they're like, so your checking points. So you're coming up and making sure that the designer has the chance to move inside of the company towards the goal that you decided. And if not, you can bring it rather to the product manager, who is like the voting task, or like you can switch designer between project, or like renegotiate the goal of the designer to the next level. Because in case you would fail the commitments, and that is what regularly happens in most of the companies, so you're like failing on your commitments with the designer, he will simply leave, or his productivity will simply follow down, just because he will have the sense of betrayal, that things haven't happened in a way that he expected and that were communicated. So this one-on-one meetings gives you a chance to easily configure it and control it, like on every 2 weeks or like 1 week time span. I see, guys, somebody needs to mute themselves. Oh, Gina. I don't hear anyone actually. Yeah, I haven't heard. Thanks, Gina. Bye. Anyway, okay. So, and for these two things, we'll jump into the actually, and I will give you a little overview there. So as we did the reviews and we understand the skill gaps of each particular developer or each particular designer, we can create the designer growth goal. So basically, it's quite easy inside of actually to create the development goal for the someone's skill gaps. Generally, you can set this up like this. So you are adding the skill gaps, you are just selecting the requested skill metrics. You are selecting the position for which you want the particular designer to follow. Let's say that would be like, I don't know, like design director, let's say. And it will highlight all of the skill gaps that this particular designer is having in order to fully match the desired career grade. So you'd simply see that right now someone is on the level thus, but he expected to have the 4 level. So it generally show like this, and you can easily select these skills, save it, and it will be added as the requirements for growth for this particular designer. And also you can set up another type of career progression requirement where you're just simply setting up the career grade. So you're saying you just click on this, open up the skill metrics, and up in here you would see all of the grades that are you are having on your skill metrics, like from intern up to like VP of design. You would see how much does the particular designer is matching the position, whether it's like 80% or depends on the case. You are selecting it as a requirement, and finally save it, and you're just configuring for how much the person needs to fit this requested position. So generally it goes that way. Just and then finally just save it. I'll just get back in there, just a sec, give me a second. So finally, when you are going to have the one-on-one meeting with your designer, you would see, or anytime you would open the individual growth plan of the designer, you would see all this criteria that you set on the top of the page. So you would know like the skills, the requested level that needs to be achieved by designer, the desired career path, and how much it should be filled. And for this criteria, you can create a series of tasks that are helping the designer actually to progress towards the desired goal. So it could be some things to read, or it could be some mentor sessions, or it could be some working tasks. It's quite easily to create new ones. You are just clicking plus up in here, just devising a task, setting up the deadline for which you're expecting the person to do it. And also you can connect actually with Jira or Asana. We currently support these 2 task managers, but we are soon going to expand them for other. And up in there, you can easily connect the working tasks that the designers have with their development goal. So you can generally like Of course, when you're going to set up some new skills, let's say UI, and someone need to achieve at least this level, definitely you would set up the, you wouldn't say like have a mentor session or read something, read this book. That would be like more practice. That would be like some practical task, like build some page or some new interface or do some research or something. And it could be like connected to like simple working task, being when the product manager is going to pull it as the done, it would be updated as done inside of the actually. And when you are going to take a look at the updates and the history of the some designers' growth to build, for example, promotional case for the designer. So you're just going to say like what this designer actually did. It would be much easier to like remember everything connected like with the working task the designer being done, and you just simply open and you would see the whole history of the like activity log, what tasks been added, when they were completed, whether it was the working task inside of Jira, Asana or not. So generally brings the transparency to the growth and the promotional process inside of the team. And that is very important because most of the designers will not be promoted like in the next cycle. And by setting up these expectations, it is not looking unfair to them. And it is not like would be perceived as the design manager, their design managers unfairness, or like he's not understanding me or something. That would be much more clear how you can communicate like, hey, you haven't been promoted to the senior just because you're like not feeding like this 4 skills, but they're like core skill, they're super important. Let's put them into next 3 months so you can like fill them out, and we can discuss your promotion and build your promotional case. So it doesn't create this unnecessary tension when you are agreeing on terms of promotion after someone is requesting it, not like before. So you are like making these agreements prior to like investing into the growth of the person. So it just becomes much more easy to manage. And the last thing, I see another chat message. Cry, someone is crying. Archaical app. I hope it's not because of my speech. Okay. And yeah, the last thing is regarding to like having regular one-on-one meetings. That is, I would say that it's very important to like run regular one-on-one meetings with any designer. And primarily, if you're putting it into the context of growth of the particular designer, you can do quite easy things. So I would show up this one-on-one weekly thing I prepared up in there. So if you are connecting Jira or Asana into with actually, you can easily create a one-to-one weekly sync when you can easily take a look at all of the Jira tasks that are being performed by a particular designer or Asana, and you can easily ask tasks whether someone has the opportunity to actually practice some specific skills or not, and it could be very easily managed by you. So whether someone is investing into the skills that are like required and that you want the designer to build them. So you can also, when you are like discussing the growth of the particular designer, you can easily bring some of the data from Vectually as an agenda up in there. So if you want to see like how the skills change of the person and you want to like to take a deeper look into the progress of the designer, like in 3 months, you can see like how much has the specific skills changed and what was the shift up in there. You can discuss why this happened and things like this. You can all the time refer to your previous discussion that you had, so you can like see what you agreed on, and that is generally like all being united into like a single process where everything inside of your company is contributing to designers' growth. So all of the meetings that you are delivering, they're helping to grow your design maturity, and they're helping every designer to grow. And it is all contributes to like the more skill complete teams that are finally like delivering more sophisticated and the quality product. Yeah, guys, this is it. Yeah, that's that was a little bit shorter than 45 minutes. I will get back up in here and we can devote a little bit more time for Q&A if you are having questions, if you are having if you having stamina and life inside you still to ask any questions.
Thank you, Chongkal. Chicos, ¿tienen alguna pregunta, incluso de la herramienta misma, si es que quieren conocer un poco más? ¿Alguien? ¿Nada?
I think I can say that. Oh, Victor, shoot,
Victor.
please. Gina and Victor, guys, you all muted.
Dale, Victor.
Yeah.
Chongkal, thanks for your presentation. Amazing.
Thank you, Victor. Victor, you're muted again. I don't know, like something you
¿Te
want.
muteaste, Victor?
I'm sorry. It's okay.
Okay.
Well, I have two questions. The first one is about all this, this flow. Is this a framework or is something based on the experience, on your experience? Is that a statistical, is dynamical?
Sure. This framework is utilized by many companies inside of around the world. So we just coined the skill metrics exist already, I don't know, like for 30 years or something as a tool. And our skill matrices, they're devised based on the feedback that we are collecting from the companies that use the product. Currently, it's around 80 companies, including like design, engineering, product managers, etc. And we are like combining and putting all the knowledge that is being provided from the other companies. So you are like generally using something that is practiced by many other companies. And regarding the product design, we are also providing some company-based templates as well, who have shared it with us and who are like open to, so our teams are using it.
Well, perfect. The second one. This is my first time looking inside vectorly. Well, now when you show us the metrics, the data, and I think the skills, so tags helps. This is inside vectorly itself or something you put or something depends on the activity itself. You know what I mean? The helps tag, the does tags connected by the skill.
I will try to repeat the question as there were some connectivity issues maybe. So did you mean like
do you open vectory? It's inside vectory. Inside vectory, when you show the, I think the skills part.
Do you want me to show it again or?
Definitely. Yeah. Yes, please. Yeah.
Okay, sure, of course.
Goals and OKRs on things. Goals. It's something like tags. Tags, does, helps. Next to skills, I don't remember where it's placed.
The one that sets goals and OKRs?
Goals and OKR, maybe.
Like the skill, yeah, actually, Victor, sorry, I don't know, like some of the words, they're like very well heard, but some are like from like far away. I don't know.
Es que justo no problem. Tienes problema de conexión, Víctor. O sea, no se te escucha bien.
So sorry.
Sí, si quieres escríbelo en el chat.
Okay.
Dale.
Okay, I'm going to write that. Thank you.
I haven't helped you, so anyway.
We will wait for his question. Okay. Gina, go ahead.
Yeah, hello, Sean. I have two questions. Can you hear me okay?
Sure, yeah, I do, yeah.
Oh, okay, I have headphones, so just wanted to make sure. Okay, so my first question will be, when you were showing like the skill graph after you have set up, you know, the matrix and you have done with all of your employees and everything, you were showing like some kind of resume or summarize, you know, about all the skills. Just a curious thing, if it's possible to filter, because you were showing us that you could filter by skill, but I was just wondering if you could filter by employee as well in this part.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. First, you would have individual report for each of the designers, and each designer has the profile where you can see the individual skill gap. And on this team chat, you can also like filter the designer.
Okay.
It's also possible. Yeah. So, and if you would like to access some particular designer, you having this members tab. And up in there, you would see like all of your designers, like their positions, like how they match these positions. You can click on them and see their profile and their individual skill set on a separate page like this. Generally, that would be told like this.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. That was just a curious thing, as I was saying. My second question is, when you were showing us, you know, like the report after all the research or everything has been done, can you download that report, or I mean to share with the candidate or the employee? And how do you do that, for example, just to?
Yeah, generally, most of when you are like using the tool, your designers are also like using the tool. But if you would like to share it outside, for example, there is a share button up in there. You can share it as a Google Doc, and also you can download the results of the table in the form of the CSV file. So you generally can download it.
Okay, no, just those were like my questions, just as I was saying, like curiosity about, you know, the functionalities that maybe I'm used to do.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Gracias, Gina. About the Victor's question, it was about the levels. Who defines the help, does, teach levels that you have in each skill?
Okay, so inside of the company, so usually how it happens when the new company. So if let's say you mean inside of the Vectally or like generally like.
I think it was about Vectorly, yes.
Okay, so when you are doing it inside of the Vectally, first you're setting up, you're selecting the template like this one. You're like adding up some additional skills and things like this, and then you are inviting editors. Usually it's the design leads, so you can add all of like a list of your editors up in there. Select them here. And oh yeah, there's like some Z index problem. Screenshot. Sorry, something is broken there. I'll just send it over. Okay, so you were adding up these editors as the design leads, and you were together like firstly creating this expectation. So you're just taking a look at the descriptions. You are like updating them, changing them, like however you like. And after this, we are recommending to launch your first test review across the team. So the purpose of this review is to make sure that people are generally understand your levels, your description that is just generally fine, and all of the description that you are providing, they're clear for your people. So I will just show it up just in another workspace. Just a sec. So that's my demo workspace. I just don't want to mess the data up in there. Just a sec, I'll just show it up different workspace. Okay. So yeah, generally when you're already doing the review, and if you would do the review inside of the Vectally, for every skill, you would see all of these descriptions like this. So these are the same description that we have in the skill matrix. So the basic idea here is to give it a try. So product managers, whether they understood what it means, whether your designers actually understand the description, whether they are seen to be fair, And after like launching this test review, you can collect feedback from your people, like why you actually like rated you like this, or like was it everything clear, whether the descriptions are good. You are coming after collecting this feedback, you're coming back to your skill metrics, and you're simply making an update of it. You're just clicking on the particular level, like you can make some update description, and so this is how it happens usually.
And I think the great thing about Vectorly is that the levels and the skills that it's defined by, for example, for the UX designer, can be personalized by each company. You provide some templates but we can edit all the things that.
Yeah. Everything is customizable for sure. Yeah, the idea of the templates just to, if you are wanting to, from our perspective, and it is better to like try out something. If you are selecting template, try it out. You can see faster where it's broken, and it's easier to like fix it rather than going from like the ideal skill metrics that would be in like 2 or 3 years after you're like using the framework. But generally you can get the value right out now if you're just simply launching, use the template, taking a look at this. If it's generally like it looks like something that your team does, you just launch it, collect feedback, update it afterwards, and finally you're just going with it iteratively improve. Will I be able to export the template? You are able to share it as well, like in the form of the public link. Yeah. Yeah, just up in here. Yeah. So it's like, it's not the, no, we're not exporting. You are like sharing it like with the public links.
Great, thank you. ¿Alguien más tiene alguna otra pregunta, chicos? ¿Qué les pareció la herramienta? Bueno, lo poco que han visto de la herramienta.
Thank you, Sophia. Yeah, I will ask Alejandra for like sending up a follow-up email if you are generally like in the process of setting up career matrices or like seeing any. Can you add useful links to which levels a designer can learn? Yes. For this thing, we are having the knowledge base. So generally you can click on any skill, and up in here you can collect like this useful materials and things like this. Generally it is not super expensive for small teams. If you are like interested to learn more, I will send up all of the details, and I will attach the link for a demo. You can book up a demo call with me or someone from our team. If you would need it in Spanish, we deliver demo in Spanish and in Portuguese as well, like not the master classes yet, but we can easily explain you, show it up, and yeah. Okay, good. We will. I can, if you would like to book a demo, I can drop you a link in the calendar so you can take it. And finally, I can send it over to all of the people. I'll just share with you.
Yeah, you can share it on the chat, and I'm also going to share in the WhatsApp group that we have.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Here it is.
I think you also put like some default courses and articles in each skill that you have in Vector,
yes,
right?
That's it. Yeah, that we're providing some recommended materials, and that you can use.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Chongkal. I'm a big fan of Vectorly since I met the tool last year. So I wanted to share it with the students right here.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. And I'll see you next week. I already told the students that we are going to have another event with the DesignOps Latam community if they want to share all this information with people, colleagues from their companies. So I'm sure they are going to keep meeting you after this.
That would be great. Thank you so much. Good night to everyone. It's already, have a nice sleep. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, thank you. Have a great one. Bye.
Chicos, gracias.